You.
Fat boy, what you doing?
You. Waiting for you.
What's all the noise?
No, noise was I was just closing the door.
Oh.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, waiting for me. What door are you going through?
You.
Are you going through the forbidden door?
I just went through the forbidden door to throw out the garbage.
Well, that's
getting rid of any evidence of a pizza that I ate today.
I have not eaten yet today. Believe it or not.
The day is early.
I mean, technically not. The sun's going to set in about an hour.
We've got time.
I mean, there's definitely time to feed myself, but not during the day.
Yeah.
What do you got? What are you drinking today?
What am I doing?
Drinking.
Listen, I wanted to let you know that I went the Ben Temple's route today.
Nice.
I already started. I started hours ago.
Yeah, but what are you drinking now?
My black rum and Dr. Pepper.
I'm not buying this. I'm not buying this at all. This is fiction, people. This is him getting out of doing his obligation.
No. I made the drinks. I made long ago.
Yeah.
I've been drinking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ahead of you, pal, because I wanted to get back at you for being 12 drinks in last time.
Get back at me? I feel you got me, boy. Boy, do I feel silly. Oh, you got me. I didn't know I had one over on you. I'll remember that. All right, let me. I'm gonna have my Jim Beam.
Yeah, I did just go buy a bottle of wine too. So
that's gay.
I'm just just covering all bases here.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have to admit to the people that you and I screwed up royally.
We did? Wait, we did?
We royally screwed up. Hold on, I'm going to drink my second shot here. This one's a Woodford Reserve.
How'd we?
Huh?
How'd we screw up?
We really fucked up. Hold on, let me shoot this. Ugh. We forgot what day this podcast comes out on.
Oh yeah, it's good old Abandonment Monday.
We were so unhyped for this Wrestlemania,
right,
that we barely remembered Wrestlemania was going on, and we forgot to line up a show to do a special show to celebrate Abandonment Monday, which is always the Monday after WrestleMania. It's kind of like one of those bank presidential type holidays where it's not on a specific date. It's the day of. It's like a Thanksgiving.
Right. Right.
We screwed up. Abandonment Monday, for anyone that doesn't know, is the day we celebrate. This is the 5th anniversary, by the way. We celebrate the day we left our good friend, our dearly departed friend Jackie Johnson in Orlando, the day after WrestleMania, because he was such a drunk prick, son of a bitch, that whole weekend. We had our fill of him, and that morning, while he was still in a state of obnoxious inebriation, Blake said, "I'm out of here," and he was some of our rides, including Jackie's wife decided she had had enough of the nonsense, and we all just left him in Orlando to fend for himself.
Now you say we. I think Blake left him technically. You had no choice.
Well,
you had to go home.
I could have made the choice to stay and be with my friend. But I'd had my fill. Well, listen, when the guy's wife is like, "Fuck it, I'm out," then I feel way more justified to be like, "You're on your own, pal."
Right. I feel like the order of who left him was Blake, because he was the driver, then his wife, because she's his wife. You're like third on the list. You're not even first or second.
And I legit was like, I looked at them while they're like packing their shit up to leave. We're all in this hotel room, and I shrugged. I said, "He's my ride." What? I can't help it, buddy. I gotta go too. And I feel like
I would say you're third on the list.
I think that lessened the heat on me by far. After in the aftermath, I was able to survive a full 2 weeks after that without getting unfriended. But then I made like a critical error and liked like a comment on a Facebook post, and there was still so much like nuclear heat over the whole incident that I got unfriended. So yeah.
And I, for the record, I had already been. I think I already went home.
You left.
So I wasn't even there.
You came down with what? TK.
TK, yeah.
Yeah, you and TK went back the night before. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you did.
So technically, I had no part of it.
You came down for the WrestleMania weekend, but did not stay for the WrestleMania. So
right.
Yeah.
Now I got the call, and I had to, I tried to play both sides.
Wait. Which call did you get?
Well, he reached out to me that you guys left him.
Oh, wait a minute. This is kind of like new. Wait a minute. This is good.
I never told you that?
No, this is kind of, see, this is what this is about. Oh, if people listen to Abandonment Monday every time we celebrate it, I feel like every time we have people recount
something new.
And something new comes out. And like, I was planning to have like a guest on this time that was like, like there that weekend and maybe had some insight or had talked to Jackie the day of, or was just around, but part of it, because there's a lot of like adjacent people. This like 450, Mecha Wolf or whatever the fuck he's wrestling under. He was in our room. He was staying in our room that night / morning when all hell broke loose with Machiko, I think. I don't know if she still even wrestles, but yeah. So there are like all kinds of people I plan on talking to over the course of time, because this is like the kind of thing. Like, listen, if we keep podcasts, this is a tradition 15 years from now. I think that it'll be fun to keep talking about. But so wait a minute.
I never told you that?
No, this is fantastic.
Well, that's how, because he told me about he was like, he couldn't get the plane ticket, or he was going to take a bus. I remember he told me that he was going to take a bus.
Wait. Start at the beginning. Like, as best to your ability.
So
start from the beginning and go through the whole thing.
He called because I left.
What time?
Sunday.
What time did he call you?
I don't remember what time, but I left.
Sunday. Was it the morning, that noon, afternoon? Because this blow up happened in the hotel room at like 7:00 in the morning.
No, this was like maybe 11 a.m.
Okay, so a couple hours had gone by. Okay.
Right. So I left Sunday. I didn't stay for Mania. We left.
Right.
Because we got home when Mania started. Sunday.
How long of a drive is that from Orlando to like what, South Carolina?
It was like 8 hours.
Okay, yeah.
So we got home right when Mania started, and he called Monday to say that you guys left him, and he was saying that, if I remember, he couldn't get a plane ticket because he couldn't find his ID. I'm pretty sure that's what it was, right?
Now, you had been wised up to it from us, right? You knew that we had left.
I already knew from you.
Okay.
You had already said you left him there. So I was like, I didn't want to because I didn't want to piss him off either. And I was acting like, what? They left you? Like, oh, those son of a bitches, because I didn't want to take the heat either. Because if you knew Jack, you would take the heat even if you weren't there. Like if I sided with you.
Well, yeah, if you said, well, I'm sure you did something to deserve it, that would have been the end of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, that fucking Chadwick, that motherfucker, I was just, I was burying you guys. And he told me he couldn't find his ID. He sounded like he was still drunk. And then he said something about he was going to take a bus. But then I want to say he had called me back and said that, because he started messaging me. And then I think Kevin Gill was the last time I talked to him, was that he met up with Kevin Gill.
Yeah, I remember seeing a photo on Facebook of him and Gill.
Right.
Now, Kevin Gill's he used to be on Conan and Disco's podcast.
Right.
And I think he does commentary for GCW now.
Yeah.
And, he's in the wrestling. He's around and in and out of the wrestling business. And I want to say that they went and had lunch together. He probably got Kevin to buy him lunch because I don't think he had any money.
Right.
If he couldn't find his ID, he probably couldn't
He
find
couldn't
his
find his
entire
ID.
wallet. You know.
Right. 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 Yeah, he couldn't find his ID. That's why he was panicking because he did. You know what? He didn't have any money because I remember him saying he didn't have any money.
Yeah.
He didn't have any money. So yeah, and then he was trying to call Jessica to buy him tickets or plane tickets, and he like messaged me throughout the day. But the last I had heard, he was with Kevin Gill. He was with him. They were going to lunch, and then
Yeah, I saw them at like a Fridays or Ale
Right,
House or
right.
some kind of place like that. Yeah.
and then they were going. He was and then yeah. But it's so funny because I wasn't there and had no part in this, but he blocked me like a couple days later because you liked the comment of someone, and I think I posted like an emoji or something, like a laughing gif or something, and then he blocked me. But I was only blocked for a short time, like it was like a couple days, and then he like unblocked me.
What happened was I don't know if it was. I think it was someone in his other group, that group with that does the Canyon Cup.
Yeah, right. Maybe it was somebody made a post.
So I think like either like it wasn't Luke Hawks, but it was like, and it wasn't Shane Helms.
Shane. No, it may have been Shane.
No, it was like,
or it was the other guy. That other guy. Yeah,
I think it was like
name.
Jim Nilsson, the guy that does
Jim
the
Nelson.
shoes
It was
or
Jim.
something.
Right.
He posted a photo, and it was like it was like a left and right, like kind of like one of those like a boxing matchup kind of photo with the verses in the middle, and it had Jackie on one side and it had Blake on the other, and and he posted it, and I thought enough time had passed where if I just acknowledged it with like a laughing emoji or something like that it, even if it didn't go under the radar, that it wouldn't get this tremendous like blowback. It would be like, okay, it's been a few days. You guys are not talking to each other. You hate each other. These guys are busting your balls about it. I'm going to just laugh at it. And that was it. I got unfriended. I think you might have got unfriended for the same exact.
Because I think I laughed at it.
Yeah.
And then he like unfriended, but then he added me within 3 days because I was like, "What are you doing?" 'Cause I wasn't even there. He was like, "Well, you liked it." I was like, "Oh, come on, it was funny." I was like, "I had nothing to do with this." And he like unblocked me because I technically had nothing to do with it. But then I went on the Disco and Conan show.
well, let me just say that since you and I both got blocked for the same or unfriended, not blocked, but unfriended for the same basically the same transgression, laughing at that meme image, whatever you want to call it. I never got refriended. I had to wait until after his death for Jessica to re-add me as a friend to his death. Like now it was a memorial page or whatever it is. So technically, Jackie and I became Facebook friends after he died.
Well, I don't even know how I got asked why they asked me to be on the show.
I know exactly why. I know exactly why. Because Kevin Gill, the producer of the show, who had sat with Jackie and listened to Jackie bury us about abandoning him in Orlando, and probably, again, you know how Jackie liked to keep a score and never forgot anything. Probably ran down my entire life history to Gil, your life history, Blake's life history, etc.
I didn't have anything to do with it. That's the worst
whatever.
part.
You were in the room all weekend. You stayed in the room all weekend except that night.
Yeah.
And I know you busted his balls for drinking and stuff many times during that weekend. So trust me, so the thing was Disco, I'm sure, and Conan had heard that we had left him in Orlando, and we're dying to fucking jump on this. So I think Gil had reached
out to me.
1,000% reached out to me, and I no sold it. I just did
he
not
reached out to
reply
me.
back to him. I think you were the only guy who replied back to him. I think he tried to get Jackie. Jackie no sold him. I was like, I knew you could worm your way back into his heart. But I knew me, if I went on that fucking show and spoke my truth, I would have been dead to him till the end of time, and I was anyways. But I
The
didn't think
funny part is though,
I didn't think he
I
was.
went on that show
Yeah.
and I only remember one thing from that podcast, and it was Disco asking me, Jackie out of the Breakfast Club, and I said, "Yeah, fuck him, he's out." I and I didn't tell Jackie what was going on, so he hears the podcast like the next day, and he calls me. I mean, it's like, it's one of those like 2 a.m. He's like, "You motherfucker, oh fuck you, you're dead to me, you piece of shit, you fucking buried me." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You fucking buried me on that podcast. You told him I was out of the Breakfast Club." I was like, "You're out, pal, you're out." And he
Well, I
was
think
like
Jackie had
screaming
left
at
our
me.
group, and our group
He did.
chats basically was the Breakfast Club. I mean, we were making
Right.
vlogs at the time, but he would only
Right.
participate them in if we actually caught him on film while you and I were
Right.
filming. It wasn't like he was ever actively trying to contribute. So,
Right.
so yeah, he had left the group, so technically he was out of the like. If you wanted to like. In legal terms, like in the court of law, yeah, technically you did leave the Breakfast Club. You're out.
Right. And he was like, "You piece of shit." He's going off on me.
Mm.
And I'm like, "You left the group chat." And he's like, "No, they left me in Orlando. You took their side." I'm like, now it's like I'm on your side, even though I had nothing to do with it. And Jessica was there because I remember she was in the background, like telling him to calm down. And I was like, "You're out of your mind." I was like, "You're fucking hammered. It's 2 o'clock in the morning." He's like, "Fuck you. I'll fucking kill you." He was like, he was going to fight me. I was like, "Jackie, you're not going to do anything." Like going off on me.
Right.
And, yeah, he was so mad that, "Why would you do the show? Why?" I was like, "Why not? You left the group chat." And he's like, "Disco and Conan are fucking assholes." And like Barry and Disco and Conan, when they didn't, and Disco, of course, was obviously, he was pushing he was pushing buttons, of course,
Oh,
during the
a
call.
1,000% he was trying to like rile the whole situation up. Like he wanted to
Right.
create what you were dealing with at 2 o'clock in the morning, for
But
sure.
Disco really wanted to get you heat, I feel like, because if I remember, he kept asking the podcast, "Oh, Troll Ben Temple's left him there." Like he was going after you.
Yeah.
Of course, because
Of
that's
course.
your feud.
We got the
Right.
feud, right?
Right. And I talked about, I said, how Jackie was hammered all weekend. Like he was literally hammered. I mean, he almost got we went out to eat that night. He was arguing, like trying to annoy the cops that were sitting next to us at dinner. It was like,
Right, at that
"Come on,
diner
stop
in the
it."
hotel,
The
right?
diner, yeah. Right. But yeah, so he blocked me, and then but he friended me back before he passed. I don't know how I smoothed it over. I
The
forgot
funny
how,
thing is,
but
I mean, the funny thing was that was, I mean, that was after you did Ring Warriors with Disco, right?
no, Disco. Jackie was dead when we did that.
Oh, was he? So
Yeah.
so
Right?
you
He
hadn't
had to
even,
have been.
so you hadn't even become like, well, how long ago was Ring Warriors? We're talking that this incident was 5 years ago. I feel
No,
like,
because I know it, because I remember Howard
Jackie
saying that Jackie was
I thought Jackie was around for Ring Warriors.
not Ring Warriors Vegas. That's when I was with
Oh,
Disco.
not
was
the
Ring
TV
Warriors Vegas.
stuff, right?
Right.
Oh, that would have been so much better, because after you worked with Disco, that would have been a
Right.
whole different, like he would have been like totally your boy talking to you on that podcast
Right.
about Jackie.
Right.
That would have been a whole different
Yeah,
dynamic.
yeah.
Did he bring that when you guys worked in Vegas with him? Did he bring
Yeah,
any
he
of
did.
that up?
Well, the first thing he brought up when I never met Disco before till that night in Vegas, the first night, and he said, we met him at that pizza place to film the commercial, and first thing he said was, he asked about you. He's always something like, he's like, "Oh, fuck that troll Ben Temples." First thing he said to me when he shook my hand, like, he was like, "Fuck that guy," but it was like the first thing he said. Then we talked about the Jackie thing, and he was like, "Ah, he was out of his mind." I was like, "Yeah, he's out of his mind for real." Like he had lost it at that point, and that was like, I think that was like the final straw. That was like a tipping point in him going over the edge even more. That weekend, but yeah, that was funny.
Here's what I found.
So
What are you doing? What are you searching for over there?
nothing. I was talking, and my watch searched Las Vegas. I said Vegas.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, that was Yeah, that was an interesting weekend, though. I mean, the whole him getting the chicken tenders, sitting like a child. It was chicken tenders, right? Yeah, it was
Well,
chicken tenders.
that's a great video that we have somewhere where
Yeah,
he ordered room service, and we're all just chilling in the room, and he
right.
literally like sits cross-legged in one of those like nice hotel chairs they have, the padded
Yeah,
ones, and they literally just roll the whole cart with all the food on it right up to him sitting in the chair, like it's a table, and
he made the lady literally roll it all the way up to him.
and he was kind of like excitedly bouncing, and
Right,
you know we're all just
right.
giggling, and he's getting mad that we're filming him. That was
Yeah,
tremendous. Yeah,
but yeah. Anyway,
that
yeah.
was when
So
he was taking breaks from picking on Blake literally all weekend.
literally,
Like
right,
that was
calling
the
him
thing
all kinds of names.
I was talking about the other podcast was that he, when he would get drunk on these trips, back in the day, back in my day, when he and I used to do the autographs back in like late '90s, he would target one person, and so again in like what was that 2017, 5 years ago, 2000, yeah, it was the same thing. He was drunk the entire weekend, like from like I always tell the story. You were there. Were you there that one day where he didn't even have both feet out of bed? I think he had one foot on the floor working on getting the other foot, and he was already reaching into a like one of those small like office
Yeah,
trash cans that had a few beers and a bunch of melted ice in it. And literally, as he's stepping one foot out of bed, getting the other foot
one
on bed,
gout foot off the bed. Yeah,
he's also grabbing a bottle of Bud Light out of the fucking that little waste paper bin,
yeah,
going like and saying breakfast and cracking it open.
yeah.
That
I mean, that weekend there was. I mean, that one. Me and you went down to WrestleCon. He was like just sitting in the room, wasn't he? He didn't even do anything.
Nah, he just drank. I think. Well, I
And,
think two
and
things.
me and you walked WrestleCon because we saw Virgil.
Yeah, well, we not only did we see him, we saw Brown Sugar Nuts. What's his
Yeah,
name? Chris. I forget his name. The Facebook
yeah,
guy that we
yeah,
know, and
yeah.
we bumped into
Blake's boy.
my friend from that chick from New
Yeah,
England, and
England. Yep.
we saw Leva Su Young. We had a great time doing WrestleCon.
We did. We saw Rich Swan. Yeah, we saw
Yeah.
everybody.
Uh,
Right.
but yeah, he stayed in the room to drink. I think also to I also think I literally think as soon as we said we were going to walk WrestleCon, and it was like the hotel we're staying in. It was this
Yeah, exactly.
long walk, but it was still part of the
Yeah.
same building. It was this
Right.
really long walk to the convention center part of it, and I think he knew it was going to be walking all day, and he had been drinking
Right.
so much over the last couple of years that he was starting to have those gout issues
In doubt. Yeah.
and just couldn't walk, and I think I also think going over to WrestleCon he couldn't keep drinking. There was
Yeah.
you couldn't bring drinks in there, and I don't think they were selling booze inside
No, they weren't.
inside the
No.
convention center. So
No, we had a good time.
oh yeah, we had a blast. Uh,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
I saw my friends that we also saw my friends that kind of like they kind of work WrestleCon every year. One of them's married to Joe Animal,
Right.
and Kim and Donna and Tracy. So I think they were the ones that got us in without wristbands.
They did. They got us
Yeah.
in. Yep.
So
Yeah. Yeah. We worked. We worked getting into WrestleCon. for free.
listen, once a worker, always a worker, right? So
Right. Well,
yeah, that was a blast.
let's
But
talk about WrestleMania.
well, I was gonna say we were about to segue. We were getting away from Jackie. We were talking about WrestleCon.
I've had enough of Jackie.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. But well, listen, enough of Jackie. But it is the Abandonment
Right,
Monday
I know.
podcast,
It's, just,
and we.
it's a shame, but it's a shame that the guy who left him there can't even come on the podcast.
Well,
So that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying.
Listen.
He's too busy.
I will say that if we had planned this ahead of time, Blake would have absolutely been here for
No,
this.
he's watching WrestleMania from last night. Now he can't.
That's true.
He's busy.
But he also teased that it was enough time had passed where he was going to start telling some of the real dirt, like you know,
Yeah.
that neither of
Yeah.
us are in any position to talk about. But when
No.
he's ready, I'm all here for it.
Right.
Um, but
What'd you think about Mania last night?
I'm just gonna wait. We'll get to Mania in a second. I just want to say, I promise next year we will have guests, and we will do a proper Abandonment Monday. The problem is that it's over the weekend that we're doing this, and it's in between WrestleMania days. So even our WrestleMania thoughts are going to be incomplete and to be continued to the next podcast.
Right.
I thought they hit a triple, if not a home run, with the first night of WrestleMania. I would say any WrestleMania isn't perfect. There's always like a match, or two on days when it was one night where they crammed more stuff in. This one they had less matches and each one had its time to breathe, which I like a little better, except that it's now 2 days. I thought they hit a triple, if not a home run.
I enjoyed it.
They really set the bar for tonight. Like everyone on tonight really should be nervous.
Yeah, I don't know how they can top that.
Well, that's
I really don't.
I mean, they can. I mean, I think it's just going to... I think some of the really big moments can't be... Like, listen, let's work our way backwards. The main event, which we didn't know was going to be a match, but everyone kind of suspected it was going to be a match, was Kevin Owens versus Stone Cold. And...
first time in 20 years.
Like, you can't... You're not replicating that on day 2.
Right.
You know, there's no replication of that. You're not bringing another old timer that hasn't worked in 19 years to fight a current guy on the roster and have a real match. Like not a couple of kicks, a stunner, and a pin. This was a brawl through the arena. I think it started slow, and then I think when Austin took that first bump, all the rush shook off, all of it.
Right.
And they delivered. This is the good thing when there's low expectations because you haven't wrestled in 19 years.
Right.
It's tremendous, and when you exceed expectations, but expectations are low, so it's easier to exceed them. But I think he did. I think some of these guys are like, well, if Sting can fucking do it at 63,
right, 62, yeah,
I can do it. I'm younger than him, so
right.
You know, he strapped himself together. I got a little nervous when he came out there because one of his, if you notice, one of his knee braces, the buckle was undone, and I'm like, is he gonna fix that? But he did fix that. The only complaint I had with that was I thought, and I commented on someone's post that I felt like they could have done I mean, like they pay these people millions of dollars to write creative storylines, and basically the storyline was Texas sucks. Well, them's fighting words and bing bang boom. You know, it wasn't like
I agree. It was the story bleed. Yeah, it was pretty. That's pretty lame. They could have wrote a better story with Stone Cold and Kevin Owens. Like, come on.
Like Kevin Owens could be like, I something about legacy.
He's been using the stunner,
legacy, and et cetera, and Austin could be like, I gave you the stunner, and you haven't even been doing it right. And yet, a couple of things, you know, that you would have just juiced it up.
Thank you.
To make it a little more memorable 10 years from now, you know.
Right. Agree. But it was cool to see Stone Cold wrestle.
It was very cool. And, dude, what did he drink? Now, when he drinks a beer, he drinks about, like, what, 1/8 of it? Yeah. It gets the rest of it on him or squeezes the can before it even gets up to his mouth. But he must have gone through, what, 2 6-packs? 3
easily.
3 6-packs, maybe?
Right. Have his brother in the ring.
Having his brother in the ring was cool. Did they even acknowledge it was his brother on commentary?
Yeah, they did.
Okay, they did.
Corey Graves said.
That's good because otherwise no one would have had a clue. And that's cool.
Right.
Like, of all the people to have come in the ring with him, his brother, like, that's kind of cool. Right. Like, you never hear, like, I never have heard him mention his brother, you know.
Right.
Really, maybe
that was cool.
Maybe in a podcast or two. So that's kind of an interesting thing. Owens was what? The perfect person to work with him?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure.
Like, was anyone else on the roster that would have worked better? Probably not. You don't want
I don't think.
You don't want a nostalgic nostalgia act where he's wrestling Stone
Right.
Cold or someone like that.
No, it was perfect. Right. Even losing, Owens got over.
Oh, I was saying that back when Owens re-signed him and Zayn re-signed their contracts with WWE.
Right.
What was that, like 6 months ago or less?
Right.
If they never use him again, if they pay him to stay at home for 4 more years, it was probably worth it for that night.
Right. And no, I agree. That was cool. It was nostalgic. It was cool to see. It was fun to watch. Now, the match before that one, that was Charlotte and Rousey.
The co-main event.
Right.
I mean,
Charlotte, Flair, and Ronda Rousey.
It wasn't like it was a bad match. It just wasn't great.
It wasn't great. Rousey looked a little lost. I felt like Charlotte was carrying her. I kind of felt like there was a couple times Charlotte got pissed a little bit because Rousey was she was off. She was off a step or two here and there.
I mean, I think there's a problem in that Rousey has some unique stuff that people that work with her aren't used to. So she has some transitions that are like judo based or MMA based or whatever that they're not used to rolling through or doing or whatever. And so that might have been an issue. I think their chemistry isn't there. I don't think the two of them have any.
Rousey did just have a baby recently, right?
I mean, she had a baby, but she's in total WWE shape.
I don't know. I don't know if she was in that great of shape.
I don't know what you're looking at. I mean,
like ring shape. That was a different thing.
Like cardio, or like
she looked like she was like. I felt like she was like she was. Well, she was a little off. I don't know if it was. I think it was her cardio was off, like her ring cardio.
I don't think so. I think those people, those MMA people, have cardio for days, and I think that's something they always train. I think if nothing else, when you're that late in the show, maybe you get an adrenaline dump beforehand.
Right. Maybe you've kind of been running,
and you just exhaust yourself for no fucking reason, waiting 3 hours to go out there.
Right. That could be too.
I will say, and this is like. I don't want to get into like appearances, like talking about people's appearances. Other than that, I've never been a fan of Rousey's choice of like hair and makeup. I think she looks like an alien from fucking, off a fucking spaceship. I don't, I think she could choose to go a different way with that. Although, I've never been a fan of that, but it doesn't affect like the way the match goes or anything like that.
Right.
Charlotte. I mean, it was like one of those classic kind of storylines where Rousey won twice when the ref wasn't looking,
right.
And then, and one time, Nature Boy or Little Nate took a bump and didn't make the count, and then when it's like one of those like really like we've seen this a million times. Where the guy's got the pin, but the ref's knocked out. They go over to wake the ref up and then get not even cheap shot it, but then eat a boot or something, knock the fuck out, and then they end up losing. And so it's a way that, nobody kind of comes off not looking strong. It's like Ronda didn't get, quote, beat, and technically she, quote, beat Charlotte twice. Right. I don't know who's the heel because Ronda's kind of got I just get the shitty attitude vibe off of her.
Right.
So it's hard.
I agree.
What
was the match before that? I don't even remember.
The match before that? That's a good question. What was the match before that?
Well, must not have been important.
No, it was probably decent. It'll come to us. What other ones stood out to you though? I think Logan Paul is a fucking star.
Easily could be a star.
The guy is the right height. He's got to be he's got to be at least 6'4", right?
Great look.
He's fucking filled out big. Like he's got a better build than if he walked through the NXT locker room, he's big. He's going to be one of the 3 most impressive looking guys there. Just because he's also got the height, and he's a pretty boy. He gets it. Like where we were talking about Rhonda kind of gets that pouty look when things don't go her way. Or when she wants to be the baby face and they start booing her and she doesn't understand how to fucking go with that and transition. Logan Paul knows how to be a heel. He's been a heel.
Right.
Him and his brother have been heels for years.
Forever, right. He's got great gear.
They understand how to work. Because with his with the boxing stuff especially, he learned how to work.
He's a worker.
He learned how to work. He also has been humiliated in his life. He has taken those bad beats in his life and bounced back from them, where I think Ronda has always had that problem. You know, when she got knocked out twice and then she quits MMA, but she's never she never understood how to work it or how to benefit off of it or how to transition from it. And Logan Paul, whether it's like buying Fugazi fucking cards off from Pokemon or when he posted that video years ago when he was in Japan, they found a suicide out in the woods and he posted, he did a vlog on it and posted images and stuff, caught tremendous heat for it, lost followers, etc. But he always bounces back. And his brother is also I saw him on the
heat magnets.
I saw him on the pre-show. He gets it. He's sitting there with Lawler and those guys, and he is working the crowd that's out there. He's shitting on them. He's putting his brother over. He gets it. If Vince had the money, honestly, those guys make a ton of money doing a bunch of stuff.
Right.
Vince can't afford them to be full-time, and I don't think they would want to be full-time. But if you could get them to do, some programs over the course of, a year and a half, where they pop in and out, they do some
but I bet he's coming back for the Miz.
They had to. Here's the thing. At the end, him and Miz beat the Mysterios. He looks great in the match. I don't know, comparison. There's two guys you could compare stuff to. He was just as good as Bad Bunny or Stephen Amell in the ring. Those are the two guys I always compare stuff to. Yep. So you could see he put in the time. He respected the craft. I think he was a fan when he was a kid. So it was this was bucket list stuff for him. I think with the Miz there, the Miz in his ear every day working with him, taught him about the fucking business, not just about how to remember to do moves in the ring. Taught him about the business. That it was kind of dumb at the end of the night you win, you beat the Mysterios, he's celebrating with Miz, and the Miz turns on him and does the Skull Crusher finale. Right. All in one night. It's why not take the win, go to Raw the next night, go to Raw the next night. The two of them are gloating in the ring for 5 minutes. Right. And then at some point he turns his back on the Miz. The Miz fucking fucks him up and turns on him. Now, that being said, that would have worked better. But the logic is still that Logan Paul is a fucking natural heel. Yeah. Why do you make him the baby face?
He's the baby, right.
Go to Raw Monday night, talk shit, blah, 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 yada, yada, and then have Logan turn on fucking Miz. Let Miz be the baby. Because he's played both already.
It's almost like the writers don't get... if you know anything about the Paul brothers, they're the heels. They're just natural. Yes, they have a lot of followers, but people follow them because, I mean, they're heels. They're natural heels.
And there's a little thing there because they said it on the pre-show. They're talking to his brother, and they're well, what about when we know you're Cleveland boys? You're you live and breathe Cleveland, et cetera, et cetera. What did you think when Miz talked shit about Cleveland? There's your angle. He's I'm in with you to fight the Mysterios, but then you had to go badmouth Cleveland, so I was just biding my time to fucking give you that receipt. But nobody, the writers are so fucking bad. It's that. It's Texas sucks. Them's fighting words. These are the storylines they come up with. It's insane. But I think, but I did see I saw him post he's been again because he's a social media fucking wonder thing, and he's got gazillions of followers. This is where the WWE benefits from it. He posted something about it, and his brother comments, "Let me know if you need a tag team partner or a new tag team partner." It's tremendous. Those two, they would make more money with the Paul brothers in any limited capacity than they'll ever make for the end of time with Rousey now. Rousey now, I think that juice has been squeezed. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. You saw that first night she had come back, the crowd was just not into her, you know. So
Well, no, there was a pop at the Rumble, but there's always a pop at the Rumble when someone who's
yeah,
been
but that night,
gone
that
comes
next night
back.
on Raw,
Yeah, yeah,
she
yeah,
cut
yeah,
that
yeah,
promo.
for
The
sure.
crowd was like,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, but the
So,
promo, you got to blame creative for that. You know what I mean?
right,
That's the
right, it was
problem.
bad.
They're fumbling. That's why I get nervous for Cody. I don't know if that's a good
Right.
segue to get into the Cody one, but
Yeah, let's do. Because I will tell you, there's only one other thing besides the Cody match. Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch. I thought was the best match of the night.
I
I
think
thought it was.
they tore the house down. It's
They
weird that
did
they had both women's title matches on the same
on the
night.
same show. Right,
Yeah.
right. But they were. Bianca is. Well, I mean, she's next level to me. She's definitely. The only thing that bothers me about her is she still does too much, like dancing at the wrong time, or like she kind of overacts a little bit. But when she's in that natural like badass mode, she's badass. But
Well,
sometimes she goes back to that WWE entertainment aspect where she's like swinging her hair and dancing, but it's like the wrong time
right.
to
Like
do it.
I
You
think
know,
like once you get in the ring, that's over.
it should be over, right?
The only thing you do with
She'll
your
do it like
hair,
here and there, right?
only thing you do with your hair is use it as a weapon, and
Right, right,
or get choked to death with it. You know, it's
right.
also a
But
huge
again, that's
liability. But like
also, but that's also the WWE way is like, face the hard camera, do your pose,
yeah.
like come on,
Or say
But
stupendous 1,000 times because
oh
that's the
Jesus,
catchphrase of.
Michael Cole must have said it a million times.
Well, no, you know who said it the most? I think
Corey Graves.
No, I think it was McAfee.
Oh,
But he's a good soldier, and they're like, listen, say
yeah,
stupendous, and so I think it's almost tongue in cheek with him. It's like I'm just gonna work into
right,
everything,
right,
and until they say that's enough of that.
right.
But
Yeah,
but I think the Belair match, I think that's a great visual when she whips those chicks with her hair,
yeah, it is.
and it
It is.
leaves
Yeah,
those like fucking those
Mark.
marks.
Yeah,
That's cool wrestling right there.
right, right,
That's cool wrestling.
right,
Now, granted, people don't want their bodies scarred up, especially
right.
women. But I think that these women are fucking down for it. They're wrestlers. They're probably popping. They're like, look at these fucking marks on my body.
Right.
But yeah, I thought, and again, aesthetic wise, I thought Becky was cool in her like Barbarella space outfit, but
Right.
she had this weird makeup where all the fucking like it was like
She looked old.
they put all the makeup under her eyes, like this
Right.
bright
She looked like
orange.
an old lady.
It was this weird alien thing, and it didn't work that well. But the
Yeah.
but the hair, because they like that had a good story. Belair cut
Right.
her hair, and so she had a new
Right.
hairdo. She had this cool fucking outfit, and they fucking worked their asses off. They did they
Yeah.
told
I love the finish.
they told a great story in the ring.
Yeah.
The finish was really good.
Yeah.
And Belair, you kind of felt like Bianca had to win.
Yeah, she had to. I agree.
This
Yeah.
was the real rematch after fucking losing in like what
Right.
20 seconds
Right.
when Becky returned. She had to win. You couldn't like have her. I almost thought coming into it that that it could have gone two ways. It could have gone where they teased it, where Becky did it again, beat her in like 30 seconds
Right.
with the same shit. They teased it. I was like, that would have been acceptable. That was the only way Becky
Right.
going over would have been acceptable.
Right.
Or
No, it was good. That was my favorite match.
or that or that Belair had to win.
Right.
I just thought maybe Belair would win quick to like redeem herself, but it was better that they had like a 15,
Right,
20
it was
minute
good.
match or something like that.
Right. And then let's talk about Cody Rhodes.
Talk about Cody. I
So
know you're
I
not.
thought the match was good.
You're not a Cody Rhodes guy. I get it.
So I'm not a Cody Rhodes fan. Like I wasn't a Cody Rhodes fan in AEW. Not a Cody Rhodes fan in WWE. Not that I think he's.
Can we go to the AEW stuff for a second?
Yeah.
Do you think if Cody had gone full heel in AEW, that you probably would have come around and been a Cody Rhodes guy?
I no, because I feel like he's trying to be Triple H. And I think
I don't
from
see
the moment he got there,
well.
listen, him hitting the chair with the hair, it was all like
No.
and he even said in his interview last night, like all of a sudden he's my idol. I got choked up when I saw him. Shut the fuck up.
Here,
He's a worker. He's a
he.
worker.
So I wouldn't even believe that. I think he's a Dusty boy through and through, and I'll tell you why. Because every match in AEW was such a cluster booked Dusty kind of fucking match.
Right.
Everything was 20 fucking moving parts. All kinds of people ringside, people running in, the wife fucking getting involved, Arn getting involved, this, that, and the other thing. A DDP here, a fucking this there. It was always something. I think he's a Dusty guy through and through. I think he never wanted... He loves being a face. I think he still has a little kayfabe issue where he doesn't want to lose that kid fan base because some of them think he's a bad guy. I don't get it. I think it would have been good business if he went heel. He would have redeemed. People would have stopped booing him for sure in AEW.
Right.
But I also think we got to put this. I also think that it was always a matter of his matches being overbooked. They were always like, they were like, even if he went heel, the fact that he was still that like as much like EVP power as he had been taken away from him, Tony Khan was still letting him basically book his own matches. And the fact that babyface or heel, that leeway was never going to change. And that, like, I think it always hurt his matches to have his wife involved and, 18 complicated things. So even turning heel in AEW wouldn't work. The fact now that he's in WWE, and I don't think they've signed his wife, I think that's going to help him a lot. I also think it's going to help him a lot when they don't let him do a Dusty finish in every match and overbook it, et cetera, et cetera. And
I feel like maybe that's it, is that maybe knowing he was booking and watching him book himself the way he did, it was annoying. Like, the fans didn't hate him because he sucks as a wrestler. They hate him because of what we're talking about. People are stupid.
Yeah, I agree. But I think going to WWE, a lot of that's going to be eliminated. And I think I saw two quotes in two different places since WrestleMania, like two different interviews from him, where he says, "I'm ready to play the game."
Right.
And I think that's going to be one of his catchphrases there. I don't know if that's a nod to Triple H at all, but it's more like I'm back in the WWE. I'm back in the system.
He wants to be Triple H, I'm telling you.
But it's also, I'm willing to play the game, so when they decide you're turning heel, he's not going to have a say in it. He's going to have to do it. And it'll be the best thing for him when they choose to do it.
Yeah,
the match was good. The match was good.
It was.
The match was good. I think Cody needs to change his shit up a little bit. I think he's becoming one of those guys where you know all the things you're going to see, and you see them all in the match. You know, whether it's that springboard off the second rope to do the stunner, or the, you know, like the Dusty stuff, all the things he throws into a match. I feel like, that's not to say that his matches are different from each other, but I feel like he might need to change his style up.
So I will say, I think in WWE, that's like his style, like doing the same shit. That's what they like. Like, that's what Cena did. That's what Roman does. That's what, you know, those guys do. Like, I mean, Hulk Hogan did it for how long? They did the same shit.
Right.
So I think that's you know.
Well, Undertaker,
better, but
any of those.
But here's my thing. Point down the line in a few months, are we all going to go? All right, it's enough of this shit. Like, it's the same shit. It's, like, because Cody's shit he's just not.
Maybe
I don't know.
Maybe except here's where I think it's going to be different. In narrative and what they let him do. The narrative is, this is the narrative. The narrative is, I left here because there was a glass ceiling, and I believed in myself, and I
Right.
left a comfortable, huge payday, guaranteed payday, job security, et cetera, et cetera. I left because I believed in myself. I bet on myself.
Right.
That's something like a huge swath of the audience can relate to. He left.
Right.
He succeeded with everything he did. He built a new company. He became one of the top guys in that. Said, okay, and this is the narrative, not necessarily what I've done. All I can do here. Let me go back and show everyone I was right. I bet on myself, and I was right. Comes back, and then is a top guy in WWE. And Vince, if he's invested enough money in him and wants to prove and basically wants to shove it in. This is like also an exercise in like humiliating AEW, shoving in AEW's face, et cetera, push him to the moon, even if the fans reject him, give him the Roman Reigns treatment until they accept him.
But here's my 2 things. Number one, if he never did what he did in AEW, this would mean nothing. So I don't know how that's shoving in AEW's face.
But it's irrelevant.
Because Vince didn't create this.
No, but
Vince fucked up.
No, but he's taking their top guy, one of their top guys.
But Vince put him in a paper bag and in a Stardust and in this and the mustache and
but that's always that was always an argument with Cody for me, was that no matter what chicken shit they gave him, he turned into chicken salad. The problem was that they glass ceilinged him, so he had to go elsewhere to prove them wrong and say, I'm better than what you allowed me to do. I
don't think it's a slap in AEW's face at all, because
I do.
2 reasons.
It's
one,
like you're one of your founders. One of your founders left you to come back here. He found our pastures greener.
You've seen how much Vince hates these outsiders when they come in. He always buries them. Like usually, AJ Styles was buried for a while. You know, after his first like month or two, he went right down the pipe. He was doing nothing for it was almost like they had to establish him. They can't do that with Cody. It's not gonna. Can't shit on Cody
he's not. He's not an outsider. He's a WWE homegrown guy that left and came back, just like Drew McIntyre, just like Lashley. I don't think it's a shot. Just like Lashley, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I don't think it's a shot. I don't think it's a
even
shot.
Even an MVP left and came back and is over like a motherfucker. Jinder, when he left and came back, I mean, they don't use him now, but man, world champion, got over like $1 million. If they ever wanted to put him back on TV, he'd still be over like $1 million.
I don't think this hurts AEW at all, because Cody's been gone for weeks and it means nothing.
It doesn't
still put on some of the best shows.
It doesn't hurt AEW, but it legitimizes Cody, and in WWE's narrative, their founder and top guy would rather work here.
But I don't think we're not.
That's their narrative.
He wouldn't rather work there.
No. That's their narrative. It doesn't matter what the reality is. It doesn't matter what the reality is. If Cody and Vince say it's the narrative, that's the narrative.
The reality is
nobody knows the reality though.
Because of course you know the reality.
The internet people, not those 14-year-olds, not those 14-year-olds that are watching.
He knew that he was going to go back.
He knew eventually. He didn't think it was going to be now.
He knew he was going to go back.
He knew eventually. He didn't think it was going to be now. He thought maybe in 15 years they'll put me in the Hall of Fame, et cetera, because they like that legacy shit. They would have brought him and his brother back just to go in the Hall of Fame.
You know, I see Twitter where they're like, they shit on AEW, they shit on WWE, and it's like there's two different. Well, if there was no competition, none of this would competition.
Right. No, this is the beginning. This is going to be great for both brands.
Right. Like competition, Vince had no competition for so many years. The product became shit. Yeah. It was stale. It was boring because there was nobody to compete against. There was nobody taking your guys, and you couldn't take anybody's guys. Now they've been taking obviously a bunch of guys from them, and now they're starting to take back. And don't think it's not I'm sure more guys are going to switch going back and forth in the next 2-3 years. So,
But Cody was the first. He was one of the founders. He was one of the founders of AEW. It's the most impactful one. Like you say, MJF going over is going to be a big deal. But MJF,
It would be.
MJF half the reason as much of a response was given to Cody was because a portion of the audience knows about AEW, knows about Cody, and knows about the story of him leaving and doing all this and coming back. But you know, with MJF, half the audience is going to know who the fuck he is because they only watch WWE, and they never saw him like they did Cody. Never saw him.
I think if Jericho went back, it'd be bigger than Cody.
Yeah, of course. He's a bigger star, of course. That's not the argument. And Jericho's not the first. Cody beat him to it. And at this point, Jericho has done this. Jericho's gone from WCW to WWE, and then WWE to New Japan, and then New Japan to AEW. This to go back to WWE, everyone expects him to go back because there's business to be done, there's Hall of Fame shit, et cetera, et cetera. At the end of the day, at some point, Jericho's going back. Of course.
Here's the thing, though.
Cody, no one ever thought, because Cody founded this shit.
6 months to a year, and Cody's not heavyweight champion. He's, fighting Sami Zayn on Friday SmackDown. Is it going to matter? Like, if they don't book him right, it won't matter in the long run.
Well, that's to be determined. You can't predict the future. You gotta hope. You gotta hope that they understand what they're doing.
He should be cutting this promo on Monday and literally going after who's champion. Like, he's talking. But in his interviews, he's talking about coming back here not for my dad, not for anything, but because I want the championship. Right, and it should be immediately.
Sure,
there shouldn't be another 3-month program.
But you understand? You understand? Vince not only had to match or beat what Tony Khan was going to pay him, but had to concede probably to a bunch of creative stuff, and
Well, he said that in the interview.
The fact
he told Vince.
Yeah.
It's American Nightmare or it's nothing.
Right.
He said it in his interview last
But that's and Vince to be like, yes, we want exactly, basically you stepping, it's like.
Well, did you hear what he said Vince said? Vince said, if it ain't broken, then why fix it?
Well, that's my point.
Vince acknowledged
That's my point is if Vince wants all this, he's going to push the shit out of it. And I trust me, Vince knows the narrative. He's been through the Monday Night Wars before. This isn't the Monday Night Wars, but some of this is very similar. And the fact he can bring Cody back as the American Nightmare in that gear with that music, which he all established in AEW. No name change, no gimmick change, no music change, no gear change, no nothing. That is such a shot across the bow. And you don't invest in all that and pay him probably a fortune to not then follow through with it. You've got to push him to the moon. Otherwise, you're just burning money. You're just setting money on fire.
Right.
Right?
I agree. Well, we'll see. But I got one last thing. I'm done talking about wrestling.
Hold on. Just because you're done talking about wrestling doesn't mean we didn't talk about enough of the card, et cetera, et cetera. I was disappointed in Cody for doing this. I understand business.
Yeah.
But you left that company because creative sucked, glass ceiling, et cetera, et cetera. I hope they don't prove you wrong for going back. Nothing changed unless you've got the deal of deals that they're not going to give anybody else. Also, I think, is there any other match you want to talk about?
The rest
you're done.
Kind of boring. No,
you're done.
The rest was just like.
Well, what's his name? Boog blew his knee out. Boog blew his knee out, which I think they were probably supposed to get the belts. I have a feeling.
I think so too. But I'm excited for Edge and AJ tonight. I think that'll be good.
Edge and AJ tonight. Oh, let's go with that. I think just like celebrity matches have been tremendous so far, I think the one-on-one with Knoxville and Zayn is going to fucking knock it out of the park.
Right.
I think Knoxville's going to just it's another one that's respecting this and is all in and has probably put a lot of work into this. I don't even know what the main event's going to be cool. I have no idea how it's going to go down. I assume.
I don't know either.
I assume Roman's going to get both belts, but who knows? Who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
I don't even know what else is on the card. Are there any women's
Yeah,
matches?
I don't know. I honestly don't know any other match but those two. The three. I know the three because of Knoxville, but
Is there another
I don't know
women's
anything
match?
else. Maybe tag team? Sasha? Maybe? I don't know.
I mean, you would think Sasha would be on the fucking.
Right. No clue. No clue. I got bigger news though.
I'm sure. I'm sure you've got bigger news than WrestleMania.
Bigger
I'm
news than
sure of it.
WrestleMania.
I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's have
Bigger
it.
news.
Let's have it.
I reposted my beans on toast videos
No, come on. Fuck your TikTok. I thought that was a rerun.
on
I'm like,
Friday.
why? I'm like, why is this shit up here again?
1.3 million views on a repost. I gained 10,000 followers in 2 days.
Oh, does this mean you're gonna stop bitching every fucking day on TikTok on Twitter to TikTok?
Yeah.
Are you gonna quit fucking
what?
crying like the fucking daily crybaby post you make to TikTok on Twitter?
I got to them. They
You
saw
get
it.
to
And they were
nothing.
like, time to put this guy over.
You posted a rerun and it caught a little fire. You're the rerun king.
1.3 million.
You're the rerun king. Instead of Gary Vee said post 4 videos a day. Instead of making 4 unique content videos a day, you're just posting reruns. Good for you.
And the rerun today is almost at 100K. So
You're a bum.
You know
You're a
what?
bum. You're a bum.
Bum.
Bum. Bum ass shit.
Bum. I'll take it.
Did you? All
Yeah,
I
I
know
got
is,
nothing else.
did you plug the podcast?
But how do you plug it on a repost? I just
I don't know.
posted the
Put a
same
little
thing.
text on there. Say go fucking.
Oh, no, I
go
just
listen to
literally
it.
reposted
Yeah, of course,
the same thing.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, of course you did.
We posted the same thing.
Bum
Well,
ass
you can't.
shit. Bum ass shit. Bum ass shit.
Yeah. All right. That's all I got. I got nothing else. I'm actually tired of talking.
Thanks.
A little winded.
Well, listen, I'm glad you kind of like called it now because I want to make sure I catch my full 2 hours of WrestleMania pre-show. God forbid I miss a bunch of fucking idiots talking about shit I'm about to see. Maybe love Cody on.
This is true.
Maybe love Cody on.
Yeah. Well,
He can answer all your questions for you.
Yeah, whatever.
What are your food plans?
Chicken parm.
Oh, you fat piece of shit.
What?
I said you fat piece of shit.
Yeah. I already had a pizza today, so.
Yeah. Why not have another fucking...
Yeah.
A whole pizza?
Almost. Close. Getting close. Very close.
Where was this pizza from?
I love New York pizza. They're from Italy.
Oh, so a real
New
one, not
York,
like a fucking heat and eat.
Oh no. I go real deal here. Yeah, I'm no jabron.
No, you are a jabron. It's just an unrelated.
But I am winded from talking to you.
Yeah, because you're a fat piece of shit.
Yeah.
All right, fatty. Well, I'm sorry.
Right, goodbye.
I'm sorry you didn't want to keep going here. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, goodbye.
We got to do a better Abandonment Monday next year.
Yeah, we gotta get some other people on.
All right, Pigman.
Goodbye.
I'll talk to you later.